And I would like to say some words on the Global Compact on Migration.
All right, everyone, whenever you get a bill or a plan or a trade deal or whatever and it has a family-friendly sounding name, be assured it is malevolent. This is always the case. Basically, you take a pile of shit and you put it in a box and you wrap up the box with nice foil wrapping and a cute little pink bow and stuff like that to make it palatable.
On the 10th and 11th of December, there will be an international congress in Marrakesh, Morocco, with regard to this Global Compact on Migration. And the participating countries are set to sign this agreement. And although this joint agreement isn't binding, it's still meant to be the legal framework on which the participating countries commit themselves to build new legislation.
Or putting lipstick on a pig would be a good metaphor for it. That's the case with the UN Global Compact for Migration. It's sort of like the term Patriot Act.
Promote independent, objective, and quality reporting of media outlets, including internet-based information, including by sensitizing and educating media professionals on migration-related issues and terminology, investing in ethical reporting standards and advertising, and stopping allocation of public funding or material support to media outlets that systematically promote, and in their words, intolerance, xenophobia, racism, and other forms of discrimination towards migrants, and then they laughably tack on, in full respect to the freedom of the media.
And one basic element of this new agreement is the extension of the definition of hate speech. The agreement wants to criminalize migration speech.
What we need to do is oppose it specifically because it's not really about protecting migrants. It's about protecting corporate interests, which is, surprise, surprise, what the UN actually wants. It's about the free flow of people across national borders, irrespective of their nation's actual internal laws, to create a globalistic world in which multinational corporations can do anything they want.
Now, when you see how this has been done in the past in Europe, it would seem to me to make common sense that they would wait and build this group to a much larger group. We know they're coming. We know thousands more are coming. There could be other plans. It seems clear that California is the most obvious place to cross, being that it's a sanctuary state.
It's a takeover by a sort of oligarchic corporate movement that is managed through the military-industrial complex of the Western world to gain so much power over human communication, over military prowess, over academic situations in some cases, over commerce and trade, over travel and movement. It's gained so much dominance within enough governments that it basically is worldwide at this point. They've basically taken over the world.
Criticism of migration will become a criminal offense. And media outlets, and that also concerns you, that give room to criticism of migration can be shut down. The Compact for Migration is legalization of mass migration. It's declaring migration as a human right.
Well, let me show you. The Global Compact for Migration. Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration. Hillary Clinton would have signed off on this in a second, and it would have been an end We, the heads of state and government and high representatives, meet in Morocco on 10th and 11th of December 2018, reaffirming the New York Declaration for Refugees and Migrants, and determined to make an important contribution to enhance cooperation on international migration in all dimensions.
So, in fact, it will become impossible to criticize Ms. Merkel's welcome migrants politics without being at risk to be jailed for hate speech. So this agreement, to our humble opinion, is a coup d'etat of pro-migrant liberal globalists.
What this would do is transform every nation into a de facto tin horn socialist regime and introduce full-on globalism within the world. There would no longer be nation states per se.
I read this to you, I think yesterday, how dangerous this document is. This was going to be the nail that was going to seal America's fate forever. But Donald Trump said, hell no, I'm not letting my country die.
Donald Trump refuses to sign it. Good on him, by the way. I would immediately oppose him and clamor for him to be kicked out of office if he did. It'd be treason.
And it will greatly benefit multinationals. Because, you know, countries who import the third world will become the third world. And it's absolutely clear, and you all know that in third world countries, multinationals dictate the rules.
It'll allow them to amalgamate more money and offshore more jobs. It'll allow them to make money hand over fist. Silicon Valley will be 10 times richer, but guess what? That wealth isn't going to trickle down. It's like I pointed out weeks ago when I think it was The Atlantic said, oh, yeah, a world without borders would be like $10 trillion richer. And I pointed out, yeah, okay, it generates more revenue. Who's getting the revenue?
And he pulled us out of the UN and put them on notice. Everybody around the world, if your country signs off on this global compact for migration, if they sign off on this, that means that your country is allowing any people that are migrants to migrate to your country. That means that the UN can designate where people can be put.
Who's getting 9.9 trillion of that 10 trillion? Oh, it's the 1%ers and the political elites. Oh, so a bunch of corporatists. Well, that wealth isn't going anywhere other than into their own pockets. They're not spreading it around. They're keeping a hold of that shit.
It will become impossible to state that integration of migrants from Islamic countries in Western cultures is impossible. It will become impossible to mention the fact that mass migration deteriorates the Western welfare systems and the fact that mass migration leads to explosive surge of rape and murder.
So if they want to put them in America, they can put them in America. If they want to put them in Europe, they can put them in Europe. Look what's going on with Europe right now. Look at Germany, France, Spain. Look at all these places, how these places are being overrun and destroyed by these migrants.
And this makes the timing of the compact on migration significant as we are heading towards elections of the European Parliament next year. With this treaty, the EU member states and the European Commission are destroying the political level playing field. It allows them to cut funding of migration critical political parties and silencing the political opposition.
Corporate control. So corporate partnered with government controlling it, in part. It's basically what Herbert Walker's daddy, Prescott Bush, wanted with the business plot. They wanted to overthrow the US government and install a Mussolini-style regime because it would have made them richer.
That means the conclusion can already be that European Parliament elections will be rigged. And only the United States of America, Australia and Hungary have indicated not to sign this agreement. So we herewith urge every country that opposes mass migration to reject this compact.